You're building or you're renovating a mountain home and you look forward to this moment. The big reveal. The first sight of your completed home. That feeling that you get when you finally arrive at your very own personalized mountain sanctuary. But the path to getting there isn't that easy. If you're just starting out on your journey, you don't know that yet. And I want to save you from that chaos. I'm Christine Hartzell. I'm the founder of Mountain Luxe Interiors, and my passion is helping mountain lovers like you build, renovate, or furnish your dream home without getting buried in the decisions. Now, I'm sure that you've scrolled Pinterest, Googled for inspiration photos, and flipped through a home magazine and found yourself admiring those stunning rooms. Who hasn't, right? But those rooms didn't just happen by accident. If you're starting out on a home improvement project like a large renovation or a custom home build, I believe that you should have an interior designer on your side to get you through to the finish line. So here at Mountain Luxe Interiors, we use a 9-step process to guide our clients from the first spark of an idea to the final big reveal. So today, I'm going to walk you through this process, why we follow it for all of our projects, and why it works. And stick around till the end because I'm going to share with you a little bit about our home project planning method for those managing their own projects and want a clear plan before the sawdust starts flying. So in my early years, before I began using this 9-step process, I had a client who wanted me to come help her with some design decisions. I was so excited to get this phone call that I didn't even bother asking her much about her project. I figured I'd just show up to the consultation and we'd figure it all out on the spot. And that was my first mistake. When I showed up, she didn't understand what it was like to work with a designer, and I didn't know anything about her project. That is why this is the first step of our journey. It is all about laying the foundation. Before we pick a single paint color, we have to understand how you want to live, and that starts with step number 1, the discovery call. It's a complimentary Zoom chat where we just see if we're a good fit. We talk about your timelines, your investment level, your big dreams for your home. This is where we determine which service that we offer will actually meet your needs. Now, had I done some digging with this lovely woman before our first meeting, I would have guided her through my services a little bit better. At the end of the discovery call, if we both determine that we would like to meet and take our design relationship to the next level, we send you a link to schedule your paid in-home consultation. This is step number 2. This is where I walk your home with you, either virtually or in person, depending on where you live, and I get a good read on your priorities in real time, like what you love about your home, what you're tired of, and what would a win look like for your home when it's all done. I want to hear exactly how you want to feel when you walk into each of those rooms. And that's a real thing. The way that you feel when you're in a space really does have an emotional impact on you. We just don't realize it. This is also an opportunity for you to ask me any questions about working with us. We want to make sure that we're all on the same page before moving on to step number 3, which is the design fee proposal. Now, I take everything that we've discussed from the Zoom call to the in-home consultation and I put it into a written plan. It spells out the exact scope of work that we will perform, the fees for that work, the project timeline, the overall interior investment that you should plan for. The goal is simple: clarity up front so that there are no surprises later. Now, this is also where I made a mistake with this client. Instead of defining the scope and presenting a clear proposal for her project, I worked hourly and I essentially let her direct the work based on whatever felt urgent that week. That might sound flexible, but it was actually unfair to her. The reality is that she didn't really know what she wanted. She had some ideas, but she definitely didn't know what her home needed. That was my job, and that's why she called a designer in the first place. When a designer skips a defined scope and a clear plan, they quietly hand the steering wheel back to the client. The result is a hot mess. Second guessing, scattered progress, shifting priorities, and eventually the client feels frustrated that the project doesn't seem cohesive. Our 9-step process defines the path forward and guides the decisions in the right order instead of asking you, the homeowner, to lead a project you hired us to lead. So now once that foundation is set and we all agree that the proposal is the direction we want to go, we enter into a contract, which brings us to step number 4, the design phase. Now this is where the vision really starts to become reality. But before I can begin designing anything, I do a final deep dive into you through inspiration photos, questionnaires, detailed design conversations where I get really crystal clear on how you want your home to look and feel. Then I translate that into a clear direction for the home. This is where I go into the studio and I develop the design. Now, we're not just picking out pretty furnishings and decor, although that is part of it. We're creating a plan that makes every room feel aligned with the vision that you had in your head. And this is where I learned a hard lesson with that client early on. I treated her project like a full service project, but I never set it up like a full service project. Instead of presenting a clear scope and then leading her through the structured process, I worked hourly, responded to whatever questions came up next, and to be honest, she really didn't need full service design. She needed guidance. She needed structure. A consultation like our Design RX or even Designer for a Day, more information about those are linked in the description, those would have been more appropriate in this situation. These consultations answer our client questions, but then they give them a clear path forward. They aren't full service design, but they still have a process and a structure, and that structure builds trust. Most clients are not calling a designer because they want to lead the design. They're calling us because they really want clarity and they want confidence. This is exactly what our 9-step process does. It builds trust, set expectations, and keeps the project from going off the rails. And honestly, I've lost jobs because someone sees our process and they realize that they want to be a lot more involved than our process allows. This is the process doing its job. And that leads me into step number 5, which is one of mine and my clients' personal favorites, the design presentation. This is where you can actually see and feel your vision for your home. I walk you through the overall direction with like floor plans, 3D renderings, and it's kind of like a show and tell of all the key selections, the furnishings, the fabrics, the materials and finishes. So you can touch and feel and react and understand how it all works together before you commit. It takes a bunch of ideas and turns them into one clear plan that you can now see for yourself. This is also the exact experience that my past client never got to have. Because we were working piecemeal, she never had the moment where everything just clicked. Instead of presenting a complete vision and letting her respond to the whole story, we stayed stuck in the weeds with little tweaks and little decisions here and there. That's why having a process matters. The design presentation is where our clients finally get to see the big picture, and it's where the trust gets reinforced because they can see that I'm leading them somewhere specific. Now, after the presentation, you'll have time to review the design and the overall investment to execute that design. You can request refinements, talk through any budget concerns, and ask for alternate options. So then we can adjust the plan before we move forward. And then once those edits are complete and you approve the final design, that triggers step number 6, which we call the initiation of trades. If your project includes renovations like new tile, cabinetry, lighting, paint, any construction changes, this is where I bring the right people to the table and get the work moving in the right order. I coordinate with your contractor, any tradespeople. I answer questions quickly and make sure that everyone is working from the same set of design deliverables so the details are executed to our standards, not left to interpretation on site. And this is also where the earlier client experience went sideways. Because I never gave her a cohesive design presentation, we never built the trust that comes from seeing the whole vision. This made it easy to turn everything down and hard for her to commit to anything. So when it came time to have her contractor perform the work, she was stuck fending for herself and had no way of communicating a design plan with him because there was none. Now, if I had guided her through one of my consultation-only services, I could have given her strong direction, prioritized a punch list and a clear suggestion of how to execute on her own. She would have left with confidence and clarity, but since I tried to treat it like full service without that structure, she never got the benefit of either path. So step number 6 is where you feel the relief of that momentum. You're not chasing the tradespeople, you're not answering technical questions, and you're not trying to keep a dozen moving parts straight. That's my job. Now, while we're getting the tradespeople mobilized, we're also handling step number 7, which is element procurement. All that fancy word means is that this is the heavy lifting you usually never see, but it is what keeps the mountain home project running smoothly. I'm sourcing all of your elements. I'm ordering, tracking, confirming hundreds of details across finishes, lighting, plumbing, tile, hardware, the list goes on. So I'm checking lead times, we're confirming specifications, we're coordinating deliveries and making sure that everything arrives intact. We also manage the storage and staging so that your items are protected and ready for the big day, not sitting in your garage, not delivered too early, and not missing when your contractor's ready to install them. This is the step that protects your timeline, your budget, and your peace of mind. We're getting so close because step number 8 is installation day. This is where my team and I take a collection of deliveries and turn them into a finished home. We arrive on site with everything in your design and we manage the entire install from start to finish. We roll out every rug, place all the furniture, hang the art and mirrors, set up lamps, arrange accessories, and make up the bed so that everything feels intentional and complete. And the best part is that you don't have to spend weeks unboxing or figuring out where anything goes. You walk in and it's done, which leads us to the moment that we've all been waiting for. Step number 9, the big reveal. This is the finish line. After all the planning, the decisions, the coordination, and the behind the scenes work, you walk in and the home is simply done. Every room is finished. Every detail's in place and the entire home feels cohesive. We walk you through the spaces, we show you the design story that we built together, and it is the moment that everything clicks. And the best part is that you're not walking into a messy construction project. You're walking into a home that is ready for real life. You can drop your bags, pour a drink, and start living. Now you may be wondering how long all this takes. Well, that's really determined by your particular scope of work. For instance, our lake cabin project, linked right here and down in the description, was a complete interior overhaul. We touched every room in this cabin, and it took about 12 months from the first visit with the clients to the big reveal. So why do I share the story of my failure as an interior designer in those early days? Well, it's because I want you to know that if you're considering hiring a designer for your project, and if it's not Mountain Luxe Interiors, which I think it should be, you need to make sure that they have a strong design process. And if they do, your job is to trust that process. And if you do, you will be thrilled about the outcome, I promise. If you want to explore working with us, you'll find the links below to our services along with our home project planning method. I think I mentioned at the beginning, this is a structured framework for homeowners managing their own projects that helps you map out the decisions, set priorities, and avoid costly mistakes before construction and purchasing begin. It's obviously not full service design, but it will give you clarity and structure that most projects are missing from day one. So check out the link in the description, and that's it. That's our 9-step interior design journey. From the first phone call to the big reveal, these 9 steps are designed to take the stress off your shoulders so you can focus on what matters most, enjoying the mountain lifestyle that you've worked so hard for. So if you want to know more, feel free to book your complimentary discovery call, and let's talk about how we can bring your dream mountain home to life. In the meantime, be surrounded by beauty. Feels cohesive. And the entire home feels cohesive. Why are those stupid little cars so loud and obnoxious? And where is he going?